Feedback. Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton.
And I am Thabiti Mpinda.
Inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback,
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
And take us along with you. We're right on right here at WHPR WHBS 160 Victor Street, and you're tuned in to Feedback, a positive image production by Hood Research. And we thank you so much for tuning in this morning. You know, as I tell Thabiti, it's either feast or famine here, and today we have a feast. We have guests upon guests. We have Big Mike calling in from Cleveland, Ohio, for the first half hour, and we have Mr. and Mrs. Karen and Frank Hammer, who are going to talk to us about the issue at the State Fairground. But first I want to say good morning to so many of you out there, even though the governor has shut down the state and legislators have fought to have the state opened up again, and that's all back and forth. We are still communicating. And I meet so many of you, and I really thank you so much for joining us for an afternoon with Hood Research on Saturdays from 2 until 6 p.m. This past Saturday, we had Professor Michael Griggs from Wayne County Community College on with us, and I got many comments after, and people called, talked about how they enjoyed him. I want to say good morning to Rosa and to Ron and Barbara and Vera, and I want to say good morning to Kirk, a new member of Hood Research. And the co-host that I had on with me said the first person who would call in would get a membership. And so that was Kirk. So I want to say that there are so many things that are taking place, and we know that the debate was a disaster. And since that time, the president, who was always making fun of those who were using the protocols that have been set up to help us in this country avoid the virus. And it's been reported that he himself has caught the virus. And so we have heard many comments, pro and con, that he has the virus. Some say he doesn't have the virus. He did such a lousy job in the debate that he is pretending to have the virus so he can get some sympathy. Well,
Theo, a phone call is here.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, happy Monday. Hello? Can you hear me? Uh-oh, can't hear it. Maybe he'll dial back again. Oh, okay. So, anyway, it's been reported now that the president and his wife and many of the team around him all have the virus, and they've decided to cart him off to the hospital so that they can get a better, read on what he needs, what he doesn't need, and what he wants and what he'll put up with. And they've given him oxygen, they haven't given him oxygen. Anyway, so yesterday he decided to have a parade. A man with the virus comes out of quarantine into a hallway, spreading it to others if he has it, going down the hallway into a vehicle with 2 additional people who he may give it to if he has it, and riding around the grounds of the hospital to wave to his base to let them know, here I am. Well, I thought it was kind of irresponsible. That's a good word. Irresponsible. Because wherever he goes, he's supposed to have the attaché case which has the buttons for nuclear bombs. So while he's parading around the hospital grounds, is that with him? Are all of he's back?
Caller's back.
Oh, hello. Happy Monday. Is that Big Mike?
Yes, good morning, Theo. This is Big Mike. How are we?
I'm fantastic. You have come on to stay with me for the first half hour of this show so we can talk about some of the craziness that's not just going on in the world, but right here in the United States of America. And I had started talking about the disastrous debate and then the parade around the hospital yesterday, Walter Mead Hospital. That was an insult to the general. But anyway.
Well, it really was, and it was a shame. I think we had some technical problems, but I did have an opportunity to hear what you said. You know, with regard to the 2 Secret Service agents and the numerous agents that had to provide security with short notice, and that's taxpayer money.
Right.
Because this guy wants to boast to his ego. He's flailing right now in the polls. And, you know, it's been said that and noted and visibly seen in the past that it's like Superman flying to the sun, the fictional character of Superman. This is how he draws energy. He needs to be, you know, waved at. He needs to find that 35% base to boost his emotional state.
Yes, right. Well, just let me pause for the introduction for those who are tuned in. Big Mike has his own show in New Jersey, and he's calling us this morning from Cleveland, Ohio. A man about the world here. But I just wanted to stop and introduce you. And we just had to talk about this. It's so insulting to the citizens in this country to take a risk like that. And all of the military was scrambling around because they didn't know he had left the hospital and got in the car and was driving. Like, what? You know.
Yes.
Did you see the Secret Service person with the attache case? Or did he leave that in the hospital? Quarantined?
I didn't see it. You know, they referred to that as the football.
Yes.
And it is supposed to, you know, be travel with the president at all times. But usually they try to keep that out of sight. But, yeah, I'm sure it was close by.
But, jeez. Whew. Well.
But, yeah, it was an absolute embarrassment. But like I say, you know what? At the end of the day, this guy is he's flailing. And there's so many untruths, and that's the euphemism. You know, let's just call it what it is. There's so many lies that are floating around right now. You know, they've spoken about, you know, Ivanka and Jared Kushner have you know, they've been tested and they're negative, etc. But here's the thing, Donald Trump's body man, and for those that don't know what that is or who that is or what role that person plays, that person is with the president basically 24/7. This is a person who tends to, it's almost like, I mean, that's why they call him a body man, because he tends to the president. You know, he's not, you know, the president has a number of administrators and administrative assistants, but that body person is with them all the time. Well, he tested positive. Now, his wife is also part of the administration. Right. And, you know, so far they're saying that she's negative.
What?
And she is the top aide to Jared Kushner.
So now, wait. So at first they said the president and his wife were positive. Now they're saying she's negative?
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I said Ivanka.
Okay.
They're saying that Jared and Ivanka are both, they both tested negative. However, the president's body man is married to the top aide to Jared Kushner.
Oh, wow. and he's
and the
positive.
body man tested positive.
Positive.
So it stands to reason that that top aide that works for Jared Kushner is likely positive as well. And I haven't heard anything about her being quarantined.
And you hear very little about the president's wife. It's as if they've just tossed her to the curb. They asked him once, if I remember, about her. Oh, she's all right. It was a very, I don't care kind of attitude.
Yeah.
And I've not heard anything about her being taken to the hospital for any additional treatment or tests. So,
Well, you know what, Theo, that lends to a good point, which again I did have an opportunity to hear you speak to, and that was a very important point because, look, on the upside of this, if one subscribes to the belief that this guy's actually contracted it, that being 45, if he's actually contracted it, he and Melania, you could perceive it as a concession. And that would be a positive. We all understand. We witnessed this guy's ego. I've never seen, even at the presidential level, I've never seen in my lifetime any president that exuded and demonstrated this degree of just raw ego.
yes.
So if he's fishing for an excuse to lose, if you will. After that horrible display on stage, then that will be a positive thing. The negative piece, though, is if that's not his agenda, and he really is looking for a sympathy vote to try to garner more toward that 35% base of his, with every intention to continue vigorously to win, then that's the downside to this. But either way, the saddest part of all of this is we don't know, because what we do know is that he's a habitual liar. He's incapable of telling the truth.
Yes, that's unfortunate. And they do have 5 people in line standing to fulfill the space. And just the idea that he keeps endangering the country, and he doesn't realize he's endangering the country by his actions. But anyway, I'm going to go on before we get to 9:30, so we can talk about the United States Senate and how it needs to be flipped. And there was a debate in South Carolina. Was it recently?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Saturday. Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, as I've said for the last couple of months, I told people watch South Carolina. I told all the listeners in New York and the tri-state. Jamie Harrison. He's a 44-year-old African American male. Very strong, Yale graduate from humble beginnings, but he is the real deal. And right now, he and Lindsey Graham in South Carolina, who Lindsey Graham is 25 years in. He's I believe 4 terms in the South Carolina Senate, but they are neck and neck. They are in a dead heat in South Carolina.
Wow.
And that debate on Saturday, again, Lindsey he doubled down with on his president. He doubled down in lockstep with Donald Trump. He discussed a lot of national issues. Jamie Harrison talked about his state, which is what senators are elected to do. This is what people get caught up in. And especially during a presidential election year, because keep in mind, Senate elections are not always synchronized with presidential elections, and that's important to note, because we have to start paying attention to the off years. We, for example, we don't, after 2020, we can't wait till 2024. We have to start looking. If you live in a state, you should know if you're a senator for that state, because they run 6-year terms, so they're staggered. So you need to find out when your senator is up for election.
Right.
For example, Lisa Murkowski in Alaska, that doesn't seem important, but it is important, because she's running in 2022, and you have a fellow Republican. I couldn't help but laugh before I say her name, but Sarah Palin threatening to run against her if she doesn't confirm Amy Coney Barrett for the Supreme Court.
Oh,
so
goodness.
these seats, there are a lot of vulnerable seats. I mean, you've got Susan Collins in Maine. That's this year,
right?
Against Sarah Gideon. You've got Tom Tillis in North Carolina, and that's huge. Versus Cal Cunningham. So
I hadn't heard much about North Carolina, but go ahead.
Yeah, but that's because people, they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about how closely contested these regions and these states are in the Senate, because we tend to gravitate toward, and this is why I say presidential election years are unique, because what happens is we gravitate toward the national election as far as the president, and we ignore everything else. If you live in North Carolina, you got to pay attention. If you live in Maine, you have to pay attention. If you live in Texas with M.J. Hager running against John Cornyn, you have to pay attention. These are historically red states. Look at Georgia right now. Their Senate is a mess. However, as far as the presidential race, Biden has a lead in Georgia right now. But we have to pay attention to more than the president.
Right. And here in the United States, Joe Biden is 14 points ahead, I'm hearing. But in the meantime, we need to flip the Senate. And what I've been doing is asking people to call Kentucky if they have friends or relatives and ask them to vote for the Democratic candidate, who happens to be Amy McGrath. And that's because Mitch McConnell is the senator on the ballot in Kentucky. Mitch McConnell is the majority whip, and he is in charge of the Senate. Mitch McConnell has over 430 bills on the desk that he has not presented for a yea or nay from the senators. And there are two among that 430 that need to be presented. And the only way that seems to be coming forward is if he is replaced. So one is the George Floyd bill, which he refuses to bring forward. The other one is the John Lewis bill, which he refuses to bring forward. So if we just sit him down, then perhaps they can get some work done. The Congress is divided right now. And the way to unite Congress is to flip the Senate over to majority Democratic members of the Senate. And then here, of course, in the state of Michigan, we have a man who says he supports Donald Trump 2,000% and wants to go to Washington, D.C., and work his tail off to get rid of the Affordable Care Insurance. I'm like, well, those are two wonderful reasons not to vote for you. So we are encouraging people to go out or on their absentee ballot, vote for Gary Peters. Now, if there are some people who don't want to take the time to fill in with color all of the indicated circles for candidates, they can vote straight Democratic and won't make a mistake and vote for the wrong person. So that's something they can do as well. And we have quite a number of drop boxes here in the city. And also, voting locations have been doubled. In the primary, we had 8. Now we have about 16 or so throughout the city to make it convenient, and drop boxes to make it convenient for those who have the absentee ballots. And that's a good thing as well. So we are expecting a larger turnout than we generally have here. And that, along with the other states that have shaky Republican candidates, maybe we'll be successful in flipping the Senate and uniting Congress. You know, so
That would be great, Theo, and especially with and I just want to take just 30 seconds to say how much I appreciate what you do, and especially in the Midwest. If there were more of us to cover the U.S., and from the West Coast to the East Coast, and you do it well with Hood Research and feedback in the Midwest. We have to continue to discuss politics.
yes,
People of color are not. We're no longer disenfranchised. We're no longer disengaged in the political system because we're starting to understand that politics is everything.
right.
I was a political science major,
Mm-hmm.
so this is what I've done, since college.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a long time ago. But everyone doesn't have to be that immersed. But you do. It is important to be engaged, to listen to people like Theo, to listen to and to watch feedback, to listen to the Big Mike Show, and so many other shows out here that we do the work for you. We're the ones that are watching C-SPAN and collecting all this data, not Twitter points, not Facebook, but watching the actual hearings to get this information and see and disseminate what your local politicians are up to. And that's important for you. But we summarize it and offer it to you. So, Theo, I just want to thank you for what you do because I know it's tireless work.
Yeah.
And you do so well at it.
It's daily, but anyway, it has to be something that is shared with the community because here the previous governor, well, several governors ago, started dismantling the school system. They took civics out. Our young people are not as knowledgeable about their responsibilities. And I hear people sometimes say, well, you got to get excited about this and you got to call somebody. I'm like, what? Every month you have to pay your utility bills. if you have a rent or if you have a mortgage or car note or whatever it is, you don't jump around the house and say, hey, I got to sit down and pay my utility bill. No, you just sit your behind down and you pay them,
Right.
And it should
Right.
be that same kind of attitude towards the elections that come around. These people control your daily life. This country, yes, is run by laws, policies, ordinances, codes, So you got to understand that this is some knowledge that you need to acquire so that you understand how to evaluate and know that you need to go to some of these. Well, we used to go. Now I guess it's by Zoom or telephone conference calls. But you need to learn all that you can about those who want to control your daily lives. There's no way of getting around it. It's just something that you have to do. Otherwise, you end up being a leaf in the wind, being pushed here and there and to your own demise by not paying attention to what's going on. And we, in the meantime, encourage people to join Hood Research. The membership is only $20 a year. And we ask people to join us on Saturday afternoon with Hood Research. And as I said early on, we had Professor Michael Griggs from Wayne County Community College on with us this past Saturday. And prior to that, we had an attorney who talked about the laws in government and how they concern us. And we had Judge Marilyn Atkins on with us. She talked about being a judge over the years and her life story, which was very interesting. And we had Dr. Nera Vetla, who was a heart surgeon, who came on with us talking about the danger of salt and how he's written a book called Salt Kills. But we have many others who come on with us of that same caliber, so we invite you to join us every Saturday. And on our website, Facebook, and Twitter are the telephone numbers, so you can dial in at 2 o'clock every Saturday. So anyway, the is it Ted in Texas?
Ted Cruz?
Ted Cruz, yes. And the president had just been very, to put it nicely, very unkind to talk about him and his mother and his wife and his family, and he wants him to support whatever he does after the way he denigrated him. You know, you
Well,
just.
Theo, I don't know where you're from, but I know if you talk about my wife and my father, you call my wife ugly, you accuse, you defame my father's character by saying he was part of the JFK assassination. Where I'm from, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a problem. And instead, this guy, Ted Cruz, runs around like his teacup Yorkie, like his lapdog.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's inexcusable.
Absolutely.
But one thing I want to get to before I go is you touched on two things.
Mm-hmm.
One, the important, and this is extraordinarily important, that people understand the impact of politics on the daily life. And I think you did a great job of summarizing that, because I believe, I think I can speak with confidence that every one of us most likely has known someone that has been hospitalized, incarcerated, a victim of, police misconduct, even if it's not, a beating or shot, it's just, police misconduct. All of these things that go on, your paycheck that you get every 2 weeks and you wonder why it's fluctuating, you're not looking at the taxes and things like that. All things are political.
Right.
And the second point, that's a segue into the second point, and that is, this is why it goes back to the importance of flipping the Senate right now, because if you have a Democratic Congress, both chambers, we've already got the House, 435 members. If we take four, and mainly in Kentucky with Amy McGrath, Mitch McConnell has to go. He's worse than Donald Trump. I never thought would ever be able to say anyone was worse than him.
I agree.
But he really, really is. But that is huge. And their worst nightmare is with that unification of both chambers of the House. It all comes back to the Electoral College.
Mm-hmm.
All things come back to that, because they know that will be first on the agenda.
Mm-hmm.
That will be the first thing that the Democrats do, and rightfully so, because the Electoral College is criminal. Yeah. It's a criminal process, and it stands to reason because it's predicated on the dismay as to how to handle slaves.
Right.
That's how far back the Electoral College goes.
Mm-hmm.
We were 3/5 of a person, but the state said, well, but we have so many.
Right.
Really started in Virginia. And said, well, we have so many slaves, so why don't we get more votes? Because they can't vote, but our votes aren't counting because we're smaller in population.
Right.
So they had to figure it out. How do you count this 3/5 of a person? But we still don't want you to vote. You can't vote, but we need to count your body here in my state. Hence the Electoral College. So of course it's criminal. It's a criminal system.
Right. Well, we are now at the bottom of the hour. Now, if you would like to stay on, if you have some comment with our guests, Mr. and Mrs. Frank and Karen Hammer are coming on to talk about this huge problem we have. We have a huge parcel of land in the middle of the city of Detroit, which houses the state fair annually. They have since relocated to some suburb, and now we have this land that's under consideration for a number of things. Magic Johnson has purchased 16 acres of that land, I'm told, to be developed soon, I would hope. And there's acreage left. And now there is a couple of investors who have, it appears, convinced the mayor of the city that the land should be sold to them so they in turn can lease the land to Amazon. The craziest kind of checker game you ever heard of. But anyway,
Wow.
yeah,
Well,
so
Theo, I'd be happy to stick around. I
Sure.
will definitely be tuned in.
yeah.
And I just want to say, I again, thank you for having me. And Michigan, Detroit, get out and vote. You guys are giant.
That's right.
Michigan is a giant in this election. Please understand that. You are a critical state. So make sure everyone is out there voting. Your vote, it does matter.
That's
it does
right.
matter. Don't let anyone tell you different. And
That's
Theo,
right.
thank you so much for what you do, and thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. All right.
And I'll be here listening in.
Okay. All righty. So now, I just want to say happy Monday to both of you, Karen Hammer and Frank Hammer. And which one of you would like to start and tell us about your organization first? Who wants to do that?
Then I'd have Karen
Okay.
Karen do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we started in 2012 when the land was still with the state of Michigan,
Okay.
which it remained for the next 8 years, no, 6
Six.
years. And during that time, Magic Plus had been selected by the state to develop the land,
Oh, all of the land?
all of the land,
Oh,
all
wow.
163 acres.
Wow.
And,
And the name of your organization?
we are State Fairgrounds Development
Okay.
Coalition.
Mm-hmm.
And the coalition basically started because the people wanted to have a say in how the land was developed. There were a lot of ideas. Those ideas were drawn together and put in a visual form by some of our members pro bono who were landscape architects and architect. And at that time, it was called Meta Expo. And you can go to the website, myfairgroundsfuture.org, mifairgroundsfuture.org, to see what that has resulted in. But in 2018, the city, the land bank of Michigan sold the city 142 acres and then the other 16 to Magic Plus. They withdrew the Magic Plus original offer because they couldn't find the backing. And now the city has announced 2 years later that they want to make it an industrial zone.
In the middle of Detroit, an industrial zone? Okay. Right.
So this is the moment where we are today talking. The city has made a deal with a Ross Perot company from Dallas and a local company, Sterling, to convert the land to a industrial zone, as Karen said.
And this is the
Yeah.
Ross Perot Jr.?
Same,
Okay.
the same. And I think what people should understand about this deal is that this is going to be an Amazon warehouse that there is none other in the whole country. This is being described as a flagship. It is 4 times as big as any other Amazon warehouse in the country. It will occupy 4 million square feet, 4 stories high. And contrary to earlier messages by the city, it will not have vans. It will only have 18-wheelers, big semi-trucks, all day long, 24/7, 363 days out of the year. The Amazon warehouse only shuts down 2 days out of the whole year.
Thanksgiving and Christmas?
I believe. Not even July the 4th.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
So this is, and so the promise has been, the enticement, the apple that's been dangled is we're bringing 1,200 jobs. And these are warehouse jobs. These are entry-level jobs. They're going to be, according to the agreement, paying $15 an hour. But early on in the game, we discovered that there was a misrepresentation of those 1,200 jobs. The website, the city's own website, originally said, well, we're going to have 1,200 jobs for Detroiters. Well, we looked at the purchase agreement. We got a copy of it. And we learned that, as a matter of fact, it's 1,200 jobs, but not necessarily for Detroiters. So one of the justifications for that was that the Amazon and the developers were not seeking any tax incentives, no tax abatements from the city of Detroit, in contrast to every other development that has come to the city that has demanded, well, if you want our development, you're going to have to make us tax concessions, give us 12-year tax abatements, and so on. And the city was very proud to the mayor was sort of beating his chest and saying, this is the first development that is not asking for such tax abatements or subsidies. However, again, you have to look at the details. That's where all the important information is. And even though he on the one hand saying that, on the other hand, if you look at the agreement, the city is subsidizing the remediation costs of the land, and it is also subsidizing the proposed demolition of the historic buildings on the site. That would be the taxpayer's dime. And we're saying, if that's going to be the taxpayer's dime, then you have to have something called a community benefits agreement per the Detroit law about community benefits ordinance, which there was a grassroots movement that said we have to have a say when a development comes into in town that's large and that's going to have an impact. And by golly, this 142-acre sale is going to fit that description exactly. So we're saying there ought to be a community benefits agreement, especially in regards to the neighborhoods immediately adjacent to the fairgrounds, who are going to be impacted inevitably by this kind of change of what's going to go on in the fairgrounds.
Okay, let me ask about the historic buildings. How many are there, and what kind of designation has been sought after and received about the historic buildings?
Well, there are actually 3 that were historically designated in the 80s, 1980, I believe.
By the
for
city,
the-
state,
and-
county, federal government?
By the federal government,
Okay.
but that doesn't protect them from demolition.
I see.
And the mayor has not put that as a priority, even though most recently preservationists have toured the fairground, found the buildings not to be dilapidated, but actually in very good shape and could be repurposed, along with actually a few other buildings that are not historically designated. And the sticking point is the placement of their bus depot / transit center. They have decided to move it from where it is at the entryway to the fairgrounds on Woodward to the interior, closer to Amazon, the proposed Amazon site. And as a result, they want to tear down the buildings because it's going to be right where those buildings would be. And we're saying you could repurpose those buildings and even use one of them, like the Coliseum, to hold the depot, the transit center, along with shops, local shops from local businesses. Women and minority-owned businesses could locate there. And it would be a place where people could gather, including around the old growth trees, a green space and a transit location. Now, the City Planning Commission was swayed by the testimony and public comment of the preservationists and others around these buildings, and recommended that the city do a 3-month investigatory search into the feasibility of using those buildings.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know what the city's going to do, but we're saying to city council, take that up. Make that as part of what needs to happen before the land goes to the developers. But that's not the only thing. We're concerned about the health and safety of the individuals both close, who will suffer the most from the noise and air pollution of the 18-wheeler diesel trucks that are going to be coming in 24/7, all days but 2 of the year. And all the exhaust, which will include particulate matter and oxides and ozone, which will poison the air and make health of, especially those close to the fairground, but everybody in the area, be at risk. Because those things that come out of the back of those 18-wheelers make people with lung problems and asthma and heart conditions suffer more because they complicate it and could even lead to death. So we're saying there should be an independent health study done to both show what the effects could be, to remediate what those effects could be, and to be mandatory and ensure mandatory aspects to make sure that those effects will be as little as possible.
Okay, so now there are 2 investigations that are being asked for. The one about the repurposing of the buildings in that area, and the other one is the effects of all of the pollution on the surrounding areas. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Have either one of them been accepted and started?
Not to my knowledge.
What was the response to the committee proposing those 2 investigations?
Well,
So the city is holding steadfast.
Okay.
Although, so I want to say that any changes that are coming about now are coming about because of community pressure.
Okay.
And it's to the credit of the community of Detroiters who are speaking out, who are catching the attention of the City Planning Commission, who are catching attention of some of the staff in the mayor's office. But ultimately, the decision is going to be made by the city council. Because now the purchase agreement has crossed a hurdle with the City Planning Commission, and now within the next week or 2 is going to make a determination. So, so we'll see. We'll see what they do. It's going to be up to them, but we think that the pendulum is going in the right direction, and we hope that the City Council will make the right decisions to defend the health and safety of the community, to preserve the traditions of the city, and then there's more. There's a question of open space, like Karen had mentioned, of green space, of access to recreation, things of that order, and those are up and now these are the decisions that the city council will have to
Okay,
make.
well, let's talk about money. Do you have accountants who are working with you, lawyers, tax attorneys, the kind of members of that hopefully are part of your committee who can say, well, listen, there's no tax abatement. However, the cost that the city would have to bear, when I say city, I mean us,
Right.
the taxpayers would have to bear. Because my understanding is all of the new routes through the state fairground to the location of the Amazon building, okay, that's us. It's on us to pay for that. And the building itself, who is required for this 4-story structure? Who pays for that?
That's going to be the developers slash investors are paying once they purchase the land. Hillwood, the Texas-based one, has a history of building Amazon facilities and will build the Amazon facility and lease it to Amazon. To your question about
Wait, stop.
attorney.
That's Ross Perot's son. You said
Correct.
it's called
Yeah.
Hillcrest, is that?
Hillwood.
Hillwood.
Hillwood Investors. Okay, go ahead.
To your question about attorneys, our coalition steering committee has 2 attorneys, one retired City of Detroit attorney and one who works for Sugar Law Center. And both of them have looked closely at the purchase agreement. One of them, along with Frank, wrote a memo pointing out the discrepancies between the purchase agreement, what it says, and what they claim is going to happen and who's going to pay for it. And there's a $3 million discrepancy, which the citizens will be on the hook for. In addition, we are looking into the fact that if the city of Detroit is not paying fair market value for the land,
You mean the developer?
I'm sorry, yes, the developer is not paying that amount, then automatically community benefits kick in. And the community should have more of a say of what happens and also get something for its sacrifice, because it's really being, the communities around the fairgrounds are really being a sacrifice zone. And one of the things that we and they are saying is there should be a community fund set up that would be monitored by the community and run by the community for their benefit, to include things like getting their homes fixed up, getting more green spaces and parks available to them. And in the future, there will maybe other things that they feel the community needs, and they should have the wherewithal to be able to affect that over time.
So now the green spaces and parks that you talk about are to be at that same location?
Well, ideally, everyone wants them on the fairgrounds, but if that is not the case, the city is off on in some meetings with some of the residents of that area said, "Oh, we'll build you a park." But that's not enough. That's a little sop thrown to the community to make them feel like they got somewhere. But they need a lot more. They need economic priority from the city, which they haven't had for over 20 years. The city has let that area run down and has not even demolished the homes in the area that need it.
And they're trying to get proposal in, right? Oh boy. Okay. Now, what I see coming is in the demolition proposal, they'll say, "Well, we'll use that to demolish,"
Right.
because it's not written. However, we're told that 8,000 homes, I guess, or buildings, are to be refurbished, and the other 8 are to be demolished. And I just think it's interesting. They talk about homes, and they never talk about businesses. So you know, it this makes me wonder. And the reason why I was asking if you had tax attorneys and accountants, etc., because there's so much written in between the pages and underneath the table and over in the closet somewhere that they're not revealing.
Correct.
So now, what do you recommend that the community does to help?
Well, we certainly want everyone to call into their city council person and tell them how they feel. And that
Okay.
doesn't include just their district, but the two at-large city council people and the mayor. Let him know, too, that the citizenry is not happy with this plan. There's also petitions that are being circulated.
Oh,
If
okay.
people go to our website, they can sign the petition that's being circulated.
Okay.
We have some labor groups and other groups that have joined with us to promote citizen action.
Oh, okay.
They can attend virtually the city council meetings and make public comment.
Okay. Now, tell me the website.
The website is myfairgroundsfuture.org, and my is mi fairgroundsfuture.org.
Okay. Repeat that.
Repeat that.
Repeat that.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
Repeat
you.
the website.
Myfairgroundsfuture.org, mifairgroundsfuture.org.
Okay. myfairgroundfuture.org.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And my is MI, abbreviation for Michigan.
Correct.
That was a clever website title. Now, you have meetings, Zoom or conference call, or since it's
Yes.
so difficult now for people to come together, and the governor says, "No, you shall not," and the legislator said, "Oh, yes, we can," and they went to court and they sued the governor, and the court said, "Hey, you can open up Michigan and everybody can die." Go ahead.
Yeah. So what we encourage people to do that want to get involved and want to get engaged with us, they can call us at 313-444-2560.
Okay, that number again to
Three
call
one-
you.
Yep, 313-444-2560.
Okay.
So we look forward to people calling. We've had calls previously. We not too long ago, the State Fairgrounds Development Coalition held its own town hall via Zoom. We will do this again.
Okay.
Certainly during this period when we need a lot of voices to come forward.
Do you,
And
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
just
go ahead.
going to ask, do you have the date and time? Has it been arranged already?
we will post that on our website.
Oh,
That's what people will find out, but it'll be this coming week. We know that the city council will meet tomorrow, and we will take a gander at what they're going to be saying there, and then we are going to be calling forth for the community to come together on a Zoom call
Okay.
for a plan of action.
Are either of you or both of you on the agenda for tomorrow?
Apparently
Is
not.
the issue? Okay. Do you know
Apparently
if
not.
the issue is on the agenda for tomorrow?
We looked at the agenda that was posted on the city council website. As far as we could tell, the fairgrounds is not on the agenda tomorrow, but we know that there's a lot of pressure coming from the mayor's office to get this deal done.
Okay.
We're saying to the city council, don't be rushing to this decision. The city planning commission, commissioners complained about how rushed their vote was. And we hope that the city council will observe and say, no, we want due diligence, we want time to answer a number of questions that are open-ended, that have not been answered. And I can give you some examples
Yes,
if we have the
please.
time. Oh,
Of course.
so one of them is there's been much said about that not only are there going to be 1,200 entry-level jobs, but there's going to be opportunities for entrepreneurs to join something called the Amazon Delivery Service Partners.
Why?
And this is going to enable local residents who have capital to embark on their own business being a partner to Amazon with a delivery service.
What does that mean?
That means that they would be, well, what it would mean is that they would be considered independent contractors.
Okay.
All the liabilities are going to go on to their shoulders.
To the independent contractor.
Yep.
Yes.
And Amazon will not have any liability, but Amazon will regulate the pace at which these deliveries are going to be made.
Pace.
Pace.
P-A-C-E. Okay.
Yep.
Such as you have to move 300 parcels an hour.
You got it.
Inside the factory. Okay, go on.
Right.
I
So
guess
those,
they don't call themselves a factory. Excuse me.
right. And they're not called
Amazon.
workers either. They're called associates.
Oh, associates. The associates have to move 300 parcels an hour. You know what that is? If they work an 8-hour day,
Yeah.
3 times 8, 2,400
At least. Yeah.
parcels a day. Oh, wow. And you also have to be able to lift how many pounds?
Yeah.
How many pounds, you know?
I don't know.
Well,
But I do know that one woman said when she worked there, she was not prepared for the physical strain that it would put on her body.
They didn't
She said
tell her.
it's equivalent to over 70 squats an
Okay.
hour and
He was 15 miles. To
15
walk 50
miles.
miles
oh my God.
in one day.
right.
15 miles a
15
day.
miles, yeah.
Ooh. So you run 15 miles a day. You work 5 days a week.
Man.
You are required, well, they tell me, to lift 80 pounds. You have to be able to lift 80 pounds. That's what I was
Oh.
told by a
Yeah.
worker. Now, 80 pounds. Now, of course, every parcel does not weigh 80 pounds. However, if it's someone who goes to the gym 3 days a week, twice a week, now they're going to be going 5 days a week to Amazon. Well, we have come to the top of the hour where we have to take a station identification break. So I want you to stay tuned, and we will be back momentarily. Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am the BD and Pinda,
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for feedback.
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV. Watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback.
You're watching Detroit's own WHPR TV. Detroit Live.
This is Theo Broughton from Feedback. You can watch me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at WHPR TV Now app. Download our free app at WHPR TV Now.
Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern.
Hi, this is Theo Broughton, president of Barton McFarland Neighborhood Association. Someone asked me, what is a census? A census is a project put on by the federal government to determine the number of people living in any particular municipality. You count, we count, and it's time for us to be counted so that we can receive the allocation of federal tax dollars that we have sent to Washington, D.C. over the past 10 years. Those tax dollars are to be used for education, for health, and perhaps there will be some money even for us to fix the damn roads. If you have not found your mailer, please know that you can call the Federal Census Bureau at 1-844-330-2020. Again, that's 1-844-330-2020 for all of the help you will need. Peace.
This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman. I am here to address all of your complaints and concerns. If you need assistance regarding city services, please contact my office at 313-224-6000 or contact us via email at ombudsman@detroitmi.gov. This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman.
You're watching WHPS, Highland Park, Detroit.
How you see the world is everything.
Oh my God, girl, you take all day.
Oh, hi.
How you doing, Luna?
The people you trust,
Stay safe. Let's go.
your community,
You rolling with the pain today.
I'm gonna show you how it's done, Payne.
in the best and the worst times.
Ma'am, stop! Hola, ¿cómo estás? Muy bien.
I see myself
Gracias.
in the people I serve.
Hi.
Officer Luna, Officer Luna.
Sweet. Girl, you know you can do my job, right?
With you. Listen, we are back, and I've had another guest to join us. I told you it's either feast or famine around here, and I just want to let you know that Al Martin is a part of the Michigan State Fairground Coalition. Is that right?
Development Coalition.
Development. I left a
You're
word out.
absolutely
Development
correct.
Coalition. And thank you so much for joining us. But before we get back into the conversation, I want to let everyone know that there has been an extension given for the census. And the extension is until the 31st of October. Not long enough because of the COVID virus locking down a lot of people, and some folks are afraid to answer the door, and some people didn't even realize they had a mailer to fill out. And for those of you who have a telephone, and I think 99.9% of the people do have a telephone, you can call the Census Bureau. You can report all of the information to them that they need, which is just basically who's living in your house. They don't want to know if you're getting a bridge card. They don't care if you're on Medicaid. They want you to know that the money that has been paid over the past 10 years, has been accumulating in Washington, D.C. And they now are at the point where they need to reallocate the funds based on population. Population, the number of people who are living in the city, each city. And right here in the city of Detroit, we need to make sure that more people report who's living in their home. Okay, now, the telephone number is 1-844-330-2020. That's 1-844-330-2020. It's real simple. You know, if you want money going for additional educational curriculum, fill out the census. If you want lunches for the children, and there are some families that need that assistance, fill out the census. If you want to have Medicare dollars provided, another reason to fill out the census. And more people are in need of Medicaid because of the COVID-19 disease that is plaguing this whole country. Fill out the census. And as the lady in Lansing says, if you want to fix the damn roads, fill out the census. It's 1-844-330-2020. And thank you again for being tuned in. Now, back to this state fair dilemma. You have been sharing with us that the council has not yet taken up the issue. Council members are also on committees. Can you tell us what committee is hearing this issue, may weigh in this issue? Do either of you know that?
Theo, first of all, it's good being with you as usual. But the committee that we believe will handle this particular resolution is economic development.
Okay.
And that would be the committee under Councilman Tate as the chair.
Okay.
So we were expecting, and we had heard, that it would go before council tomorrow and would probably be assigned to the committee. But since we are unable to find it on the agenda, we really aren't too sure exactly what that means.
Okay.
So we'll have to wait and see tomorrow.
Well, I think there's something that can be done today, and that is to call the council. There's a telephone number for you to call if you want to reach any of the 9 council members. Any one of them. They all have their own number. However, you don't have to remember all 9 numbers like I do. Just remember one, which is 224-3443. 313 area code, 224-3443. When the receptionist answers, ask for Tate, And if his committee will meet this afternoon, find out if it is Zoom or, conference call or whatever it is, because it's supposed to be public information. You should be able to use your telephone. 99.9% of the people around here have a telephone. So, if you call 224-3443, ask for Tate's office, and determine whether or not there's going to be a meeting this afternoon. They generally meet around 1 o'clock or so. And if they are, then you can dial up, listen, perhaps make a comment in the committee. Then you can also call 224-3443 and ask for the president of council, who is Brenda Jones. And in her office, ask what's on the agenda and when the resolution, you say, is going to be heard by the council. After that, she got a lot of work to do. You can call all 9 of these people and tell them what you think should happen with the state fairground. And this light industrial is really shaky. The people in Southwest Detroit have been dealing with asthma for years, cancer for years, and all of the other respiratory illnesses that one can get all throughout the years. And they've not had enough people advocating for them. So, the telephone number you should remember for today, for tomorrow, and the next day is 224-3443. That's for the city council. Now, if, for instance, you want to call and tell the mayor you think this whole thing stinks, call 224-3400. That's 224-3400. Now, there was something that, Karen, that you had mentioned during the break that you wanted to bring up.
Yes, there were some workers in the Romulus facility, Amazon facility, that had complained to their legislators, Debbie Dingell and Rashida Tlaib, about the conditions inside the plant regarding were there proper COVID-19 measures taken. They were concerned about folks who were working inside the warehouse who had the disease, and were they quarantined, and how could those who were not, who did not have the disease, be protected? And they felt the protections were inadequate. So both Congress women investigated. They did go, they notified Amazon they were coming, but I guess the hour at which they were coming was not settled upon, and so when they showed up, Amazon made them wait. Word was that folks inside said they were scrambling to make everything look good.
Okay, well now.
And they waited. The Representative Dingell and Tlaib waited for over an hour Not only did they wait, but Amazon called the police on them.
Well, the fact is, they make $174,000 a year. Amazon probably makes $174 billion a year. How about that? And the police came too, didn't they? Two ladies, no weapons, waited an hour. Yeah, you waited an hour for the police to come. What? What happened?
Well, they were allowed in for, I don't know what length of time. I know Congresswoman Tlaib wanted to take photos. And when she brought out her cell phone, there was an uproar. So they did tour the facilities to some extent. I do not know the result of their findings.
Yeah, Rashida Tlaib said,
But
"Did
they
you
are
know who
looking
I
out
am?"
for their constituents.
Oh, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
You know, Theo, you brought up an excellent point just a few minutes ago when you mentioned the occurrence of asthma and other similar illnesses in our community. It's one of the reasons why the State Fairgrounds Development Coalition has been so adamant that this project, before it proceeds, have a thorough health investigation, and it should be done by an independent agency that's going to come in, that is going to be thorough, they will be objective, they will look at all of the potential ailments that can flow from continuous diesel fume exposure. Let's see how we can somehow avoid repeating the same kind of illnesses that have occurred elsewhere in our city. So the health impact analysis is one of the areas that the coalition find is absolutely necessary because it's going to protect the citizens, the children of the communities immediately adjacent to the State Fairground site.
There is a warehouse in Livonia too, right?
Yes.
There's one. Okay. And do either of these two, I think there's a third one someplace.
Shelby Township.
Oh, yeah, Shelby Township. 23 Mile Road and something.
Right.
Do any of these three have light industrial designation at their locations? Do they have residential communities close up and personal to Amazon?
I have seen, Theo, the facilities in Livonia and the facility in Romulus. Neither of those facilities are located in residential areas. Now, the one in Livonia does have residential areas, maybe a few miles away. But immediately surrounding their facility, no residents. Romulus have none. I have not had a chance to visit the Shelby Township facility.
Oh, their lungs are more important than others. Reminds me of Animal Farm, right? For those of you who have not read that book, you should read it. Anyway, well, I want you to tell us, because I ought to get back to this money, but I want you to tell us once again about those who can sign the petition, what they need to do.
They need to go to our website, which is myfairgroundsfuture.org. My is spelled M-I, like for Michigan, fairgroundsfuture.org. And on the home page will be a place where they can both read about what the petition is and sign it.
Okay. Now, is there a particular way you sign on the internet? Now, I've heard of one, but how do they do that?
They, what happens is the screen asks if you want to sign, and if you do, you put your cursor over sign or whatever the designation is for that, and
Okay.
click on it, and then you can fill in your email, and you get a prompt thank you, and
consider the signature.
You're set to go.
Okay. All right. That's one way. Okay. Now, to get back to this money, I just think that who's working with you needs to tell you in dollars and cents if the city, and underline the word if, the city is going to make any kind of profit out of this. Because I'm hearing that the developers, including Ross Perot's son, want to purchase the land. Then they want us, the taxpayers, us, to build this 4-story warehouse, put down the roadways, sidewalks, curbs, whatever is needed, there. And then the lease is not made out between the city and Amazon. It's made out between Ross Perot, Hillwood, and there's another company here in Detroit.
Sterling Group.
Sterling Group. And they appear to be the ones who are going to get the least dollars. So if they get the least dollars, Amazon pays those two. We are putting money out. What is the cost of the land to Hillwood and the Sterling Group?
That is an area that we are thoroughly researching along with the city, Theo.
Okay.
Frank Hammer mentioned earlier that the purchase agreement that we have seen, and the mayor has made that available to us, the purchase agreement indicates that the facility for Amazon as a leasee will be constructed by the developers, those two developers, Hillwood and the Sterling Group. Now, the city's responsibility will be for the construction and the maintenance of the roadway throughout the site. So we as the taxpayers do have that responsibility. There was an evaluation of the property, an appraisal, that indicated, and these numbers are going to be approximate, that the land was appraised at approximately $12 million. Then there were some deductions made, taking it down to $9 million, which is what the developers are paying to the city, or proposing to pay to the city, the $9 million, and they are agreeing that they will then build a new transit center for no more than $7 million.
The developers?
The developers. Now, what appears to be rather confusing is that the city takes the position that the cost of the land to the developers is $16 million. So we are in the process of going through and working with the city to make sure that the amount that is being paid is the appropriate amount and is consistent with an appraisal of the land. But let's not confuse the issue with some of these deductions and then saying, but we also want to include the $7 million for the transit center. $7 million for the transit center is not based on the evaluation or the appraisal of the land. So these are some of the things that can be confusing, and we're working with the city to get them cleared up.
Right. And then earlier, I don't know if you, Karen, or Frank, stated that there was a $3 million mistake someplace.
Discrepancy.
Oh.
That's the word I used.
Excuse me, discrepancy. I see.
And we
Okay.
authored a memo to that effect.
Yes, ma'am. That would be one of the things to ask about today if you talk
Yes,
to the
and-
committee.
We understand that one of the people in the City Planning Commission, his name escapes me at the moment,
Arthur
sent our memo
Jefferson.
along unaltered to the City Planning Commission to review, along with another memo which the city issued to Nick Coury. And the fact that this was passed along unaltered leads us to believe that Mr.
Corley?
Corley, correct, Irv Corley.
Irvin
Thank you. Thought it was significant. And our memo basically asks why these discrepancies and points them out.
Well, now, I still have this issue about destroying historical sites. I'm just not understanding why someone has the right to tear down a historical site. But anyway, it does happen, you know. The Blue Cross building is on top of the location where John Brown and Atwell, others were supposed to meet, remember?
That's correct.
Yeah, well, so much for caring about history. The roadways, you know, has anybody thought to ask whether there are any 18-wheelers that are electric?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, when you ask about an 18-wheeler being electric, what was the response?
Actually, we asked, could Amazon purchase electric 18-wheelers? This is part of our sustainability agenda for the fairgrounds. And we know that there are 18-wheelers, electric 18-wheelers, either in production or will be soon. And keep in mind that this facility won't be open for 2 more years.
Correct.
So we are saying, why can't Amazon purchase these electric 18-wheelers from, I think it's Elon Musk, who is producing them? And that would take care of the pollution right there.
Has anybody responded?
No, the city has not responded.
Well, and Amazon hasn't responded either.
Well, that's a point, Theo, that many people of which many people are concerned. Now, let me hasten to add that when you have a developer, many times the developer is the one who is responsible for bringing in its tenants, and the conversation in the initial stages of the transaction would be between the city and the developer. In this case, though, many people are concerned. We know who it is at this stage who is going to be one of your anchor tenants. It's Amazon. So let's understand with Amazon what it is they plan to do and how they plan to do it. And let's reach some agreements among ourselves, the developers, the city, and the anchor tenant, as to how this development is going to proceed, how it is going to benefit the city of Detroit, and how it is going to benefit the residents who are living immediately adjacent to the site because they are there for the long term. This project should be beneficial for and to them for the long term. And that's what our coalition is working to accomplish.
What? Oh dear. We're at the end of the show. Just when I wanted to know, why can't the city of Detroit lease its own land? But nevertheless.
Very good.
Oh, that's a cliffhanger. You know, I want to thank you, Karen Hemmer, for being on with us today. Would you give a telephone number if someone needs to contact the number again?
Yes.
Which was,
It's area code 313-444-2560. Again, 313-444-2560. And it's been my pleasure to speak with you.
Thank you for being with us. And Al Martin, I want to thank you so much for joining to share your insights to this issue. And all of you tuned in, remember, the telephone number to call council is 224-3443. 224-3443. And at the end of the program, I say, it's not necessary for you to know everything. What is necessary is for you to know how to find what you need when you need it. We at Hood Research seek out as much information as we can to share with you and invite you to share as well to help us all make better informed decisions. And as the Beattie would say, if you want to be nothing, do nothing. The only problem with that is you will never know when you're finished. Tune in again on Saturday for an afternoon with Hood Research. Go to Google our website, Facebook, or Twitter to get the access numbers. And tune in again next Monday, 9 a.m. Peace. Feedback. Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am Thabiti Mpinda,
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback.
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV. Watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback. Feedback. Feedback.